Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Thomas K.R. Stovall, and today we are talking about the tactics of the offer and the deadlines. This is my favorite part of the transaction. And if you can't tell it, like when I'm smiling so big, I love this part because it's not just ringing the register, it is how we ring the register. Tens of thousands of dollars in minutes to hours by design. Now, I love consequential offers, and I'll say more about that in a bit. But for now, just know that when people respect the thing, when they realize that consequence, there's consequence for not paying attention and moving accordingly. And that said, I want to paint a very vivid picture for you that illustrates what your prospects are thinking and feeling at this stage of the transaction if you've set this thing up properly. Okay. Now, I call this creating the cliff. So visualize a calm stream. You're riding down this stream in an inner tube, you're relaxing. It's beautiful. You're in the middle of a gorgeous forest. You're lazily wafting down the river. You're barely even moving, right? Scenery is gorgeous. You're loving the ride. And off in the distance, you see something that's happening. Maybe it's a fog. You're not quite sure what it is, but something's happening. But you're just enjoying the scenery. Beautiful view. Now, that is kind of the multi-day story-driven launch campaign. So that scene I'm painting, that's that calm scene. You're telling stories, you're giving case studies, you are announcing that there's a big launch on a particular date and time that they need to pay attention to. And they're like, yeah, big launch, schmig launch, whatever. I'm just enjoying the ride. Great stories you're telling. Thank you for telling me these wonderful stories. Really cool what you're doing over there, guy. Exciting stuff for you and your company. They're chilling, but they are watching and listening. But they're not really expecting to make a move. Okay. Now, uh, visualize the pace quickening. Okay, the water starts to pick up pace a little bit. It starts to get a little bit more turbulent. It's clear that we're moving forward now. Momentum is building, and we're moving forward fast. They got to figure out what to do. They're going to get swept away, and the momentum is going. It's going, and they're starting to get a little bit nervous now. Okay, and they realize that fog that they saw ahead. This isn't fog at all. This is mist rising up over the top of a waterfall? Man, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? That's what they're thinking. And they can't get out of this. They're trying to grasp at rocks to slow down the pace of their inner tube. They're trying to grasp at tree branches so they can try to pull themselves to safety on the shore, but they can't get hold of anything. And it's clear that they are going over this edge. Oh my God. That is that is them in the middle of your announcement. Okay, so you've built the anticipation and you unveil this amazing offer that is a one-time offer on your launch. First time you do a launch of any program, product, or service, I call that a sandbox launch. And the reason I call it a sandbox launch is I give a deal so ridiculous, so good that you got to be just a fool to not take this. And you're never, ever going to see this deal again. But in exchange for you coming and playing in the sandbox with me, because the first time I offer something, the I's are not all going to be dotted, the T's are not all going to be crossed. You're going to find a misspelled word somewhere, but the content, the outcomes are going to be amazing. So, for that trade of me giving you an amazing program where you're going to find some stuff that's off here and there, call that the sandbox. And you help me to make sure that I tighten up all the details, and I'm going to give you an amazing program or product at an amazing price. That's the sandbox deal. I do it the first time I launch a product, only the first time I launch a product. And I've trained my audience to now know that they will never, ever see a price or terms or bonuses that good again. And so that's the sandbox. So even if they're not all the way in, you've built this anticipation now, and you're giving them this amazing one-time only offer, and that price is good until midnight that day of the announcement. So they've been on the fence, but now they're kind of like, man, I wonder if I should just go ahead and get this thing just in case. Like I might not even use it, but it's a fit for what I say I've been wanting. And man, this deal is good. So a lot of folks are going to grab that lifeline. They're going to grab that tree branch. They're going to pull themselves to shore, and they're going to do it before they go over the edge and take that plunge, before that deadline, that midnight deadline hits. A lot of folks are going to do it. Okay. But some folks aren't. And we love for that second day, because the first day of the campaign is not really where you clean up. That's where you get started. And people think that that first hit is the big one. It's not. I call that the first fall. So now I want you to visualize we have gone over the edge. All right. They couldn't slow down on rocks. They couldn't pull themselves to shore. We're over the edge of the waterfall. Their stomach falling out of their body. And boom, they land about 15 feet onto another body of water. They're soaked. They are confused at this point, but they're alive. Thank you, Jesus. We did not go over the edge of a big waterfall, right? They realized it wasn't this huge waterfall. It was just a slight drop. They're relieved, but then, oh my God, the pace of the water is picking up again. They look off in the distance. What do they see? Another waterfall. Oh my God, not again. And that's day two. So on day two, this is the day after your first announcement and the first deal that expired at midnight. You are publicly shouting out all these people who purchased the offer. It's clear that these people couldn't be happier. Social proof is everywhere. It's balloons, it's streamers, it's celebrations, all the things that create the FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? For the people who didn't make a move. And FOMO has descended upon everybody who missed that offer, who's serious about taking you up on that offer. If they didn't care anyway, they're just enjoying the show. But if they were serious, they are kicking themselves now. And the campaign is not over. Day two, you unveil an offer that isn't nearly as good as the one on day one, but it's still way better than what their pricing and the offer structure is going to be day to day after the launch is done. And so this new offer for day two ends at, you guessed it, midnight on that day. So it's the same process again. It's like Twilight Zone. They're going through all of these emotions again, but now they have day one as a reference point. And these people, they see this momentum. They want to be part of that community, but they needed to be spanked. They needed to be spanked on that first day because they didn't believe that fat meat was greasy. They thought you was playing. They thought that you were playing and that you were just another marketer who makes fake promises, and that you said that it's going away at midnight and they'd be able to reach out via email tomorrow and say, can I get the deal? And you were going to be happy to take their money because you want everybody's money, right? They thought you were another one of them, but you're not. They needed to see that your word was your word, and the offer that you said ended at midnight and you meant it. They needed to see that, and that offer is not coming back. So when they see that, they now respect on an unconscious level. They now respect your offer as real. And they're going to respond to that deal that's still available to them today, which is still, again, way better than what is going to be tomorrow after midnight. And by default, this has them know that this offer for day two that they're considering will truly be gone, and it's never coming back. You need it day one so that they can understand that this is a real offer, and when it's gone, it's gone. And so now they got a choice to make. Do they grab the lifeline and pull themselves to shore? Safety, right? By buying this offer now. Or do they chance it? Do they go off on another cliff? Do they hope that one day, someday, by some miracle, they're going to ever see this price point, this program, these bonuses ever again? And they have the evidence now that shows them from day one, they're probably not, because you're not playing. This offer is gone. So for those who are serious, for the folks who have the money to buy, they've got the time, and they just had that little sliver of fear that, they weren't going to do what it took or they were going to fail at the program. All we've done, all we've done is basically we've short circuited their logical brain and we've reframed their fear. We've created a context where their fear of a loss of the opportunity that's in front of them is now larger than their fear of failing if they move forward. And you can create that cliff, right? That waterfall one, two, three times inside of your launch campaign. Three times is about it, right? Two seems to be a good number, but if you got a really good program, you've got a lot of bonuses, and you got space to make meaningful drops at each level, then three is solid. So everything when you're anchoring the now, right? That's what I focus on. Everything about the campaign offer structure is about anchoring the now. It's about designing an environment where there's consequence waiting. Waiting. If you wait, there is consequence for waiting until tomorrow. If you don't move forward and go ahead and get this offer, it's got to be consequence. This is called a consequential offer. And the majority of us, we don't make consequential invitations. We certainly don't make consequential offers. When I make my audience an invitation or an offer and they ignore it, there's consequence for that. If I make you a qualified invitation and right up front, I give you all the parameters that you need in order to make an informed choice, right? You continue to move forward in my process and it's respectful. I'm gonna make sure, number one, I'm talking to the person who's the right fit. I already know what check boxes must be true in order for this offer to be the right fit for you at this time, and for me to be able to promise you an exact outcome that's measurable if you're this person struggling with this problem and you've got these resources, et cetera. I know that it's a fit already, or I'm not talking to you, not for this offer. So if I make you a qualified invitation and answer all these questions, give you all the parameters you need to make an informed choice, and you continue forward in my process, and there's going to come a moment all the time where I'm going to say, listen, so assuming all these things are true that I'm telling you, if we keep going forward in this process, do you have the time? Do you have the money? And do you have the intent to move forward to contract, assuming everything that I'm giving you here is true? Once you actually can look and find and verify, yep, this, are we moving forward? And if you say yes, and then I go on to spend my time and do everything I would do, and you then waste my time later when it comes time to move to the contract, you backpedal? Are you kidding me? Sir or ma'am, you have wasted my time, and time is the most precious of all commodities. The most precious. But we don't treat our time that way. We believe that, any customer, any money is good money. We ought to be chasing them. I'm sorry, there's consequence when you waste my time. Online, offline, in person, I don't care where. That's how I build my transactions. Now, be honest. Do you build consequential transactions? Or do you run around chasing people? Do you follow up with them until God knows when, trying to convince and cajole them that saying yes to you in your program is the right thing for them to do? I don't tell those lies. I don't know if it's the right thing for you. I can only tell you what people like you, who have characteristics like you, and resources like you, and ambitions like you, have created inside of my programs. That's what I can tell you. And I can tell you how much it is. I can tell you how much time it takes. And I can also tell you that there's going to come a point in my process where the thinking and considering is now complete. And you're either going to poop or get off the pot. And respectfully, that time has come, right? So it's always going to be respectful. But the further we get in the transaction, the more the pressure begins to mount. And we are reaching that line and saying, you're going to need to go ahead and choose, or you need to go a different direction. So we don't chase, we attract. But the only way you attract is when you have something of value that people want, and it's not readily available to anybody and everybody. You've got to have a particular person who your thing is for, and it's not for everyone. It's not for all people. Our brains and our bodies are much more motivated to move when there is threat of loss, pressing on us much more so than when we have something to gain. It's basic human principle brain science. We want to position our offer structure and our timelines so that we press on those predictable mechanisms that activate their desire to not miss the offer and make the upside so good that they can justify that perceived risk. We've already done the work on the front end to make sure that if this particular customer says yes to us, that it's going to be one of the best decisions they've ever made in their life. And given how finely tuned our program is for people like them, there's nothing that could serve them better. We need to do that work on the front end. So we're using ethical influence in our transactions. This is not to get anybody and everybody to sign up. This is to clear the path for people to make a swift and affirmative choice for their future if they're the perfect fit to get themselves out of the way. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. And this is how inside of structures like this, you create all of that pressure. You create all of that momentum. It's like a pressure cooker. When they finally get the offer, 7, 10 days later, at the end of the webinar, whatever it might be, and it's open for a 3-hour window or 5-hour window only until midnight that night. They've been waiting a whole week. They're chomping at the bit. It's an amazing offer. It's exactly what they need. And it is gone at midnight. And here's a little tip I like to use. I use deadline funnels. It's a software that actually limits the page availability. The moment that the deadline hits, it tracks cookies on people's mobile devices and desktops and does not allow them to access the page after that, redirects them to the next page. I show them the sales page already built for what the offer is going to be at midnight. I'll show you I'm not playing. I show you the page so you can see all these bonuses are gone. This discount is gone. Play with me if you want to. Midnight, this thing is going to be $5,000 more. You're going to lose all these bonuses. Totally up to you. You'll never see this price again. Find out the fat meat is grease if you need to, or trust me on it. So tomorrow we're going to get through part 3 of my breakdown of the offer creation process. I'll walk you through all the thinking and the psychology behind how I frame the lower tickets. We just talked through a high ticket, the lower ticket offer. That was the secondary part of this launch campaign. And it's positioned to eventually sell every single person who purchases that offer, the lower ticket, into the high ticket $10,000 offer sometime down the line. But the narrative, the framing is structured such that it's not a sell at all. They will eventually request to be in that $10,000 program because everything about the lower ticket program is literally aspirational to the milestones, the people, the environment that we've crafted, the narrative we've crafted for the high ticket offer. All right, hope this is valuable for y'all, and I look forward to checking in tomorrow. Peace.